The M.T.V.B. podcast presents The Commentary Corner. This show may contain swearing.
Hello, welcome to another episode of The Commentary Corner, the sideshow here from us here at the M.T.V.B. podcast. That's the podcast that talks about movies, TV shows, video games, and board games. This week's episode, we're going to be going back to 1981's Raiders of the Lost Ark with the guys. I'm joined by a bunch of them on the couch here. Introduce yourselves around that table, please.
It's me, Mario.
It's JK47.
And it's H, the man with some whip-cracking facts.
Nice.
I like it.
Let's see who's going to have more out this one, out the two, you and John, eh?
And I'm going to let Howard go.
No,
I'm going to let Howard run with it.
No.
It's
So,
his baby.
No, you, John.
So we know for a fact that this is someone's favourite movie of all time. I won't say it just yet. We'll probably find out about that later on. But let's go with the real question. It's 1981, John. How old were you? And did you see it at the cinema?
Yes, I did. And it's always comes to me, doesn't it?
You're
Yes,
the only
I
one
saw
that's
it
old
in the
enough to
cinema.
see it in the cinema.
Probably, actually, yeah. No, yeah, I did, yeah. It was good.
Nice.
It was a good film.
So are we all big fans of this, I assume?
Hell
I
yeah.
like it.
This is definitely my top 10 of all time anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah. Shall we just crack on then and get straight to it?
Let's do it.
Right, so guys, this show is obviously designed for you to follow along with the movie. We have the 4K copy of it on disc, 4K disc. So get your drinks, get your snacks, get your copy of the movie, of course, if you got it on streaming, if you got it on, I believe it's on Disney Plus or your discs or whatever, and then press play on that player now. Paramount Pictures
Yeah, Paramount.
with the mountain that always comes up in the background to something, like so.
Yeah.
Merges in with the...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this was Spielberg's very first idea that he ever had for a shot in a movie. Because when he was a kid, he came up with a false production company called Playmount,
Okay.
which is obviously a play on Paramount. And Mount is the German translation of Spielberg.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
But he always wanted the idea of a mountain logo dissolving into a real-life mountain. So that was
And what better to do it with the Paramount?
always going to happen.
And then they went and destroyed it with Transformers.
Good old John Rhys Davies.
Yeah.
And a very, very young Alfred.
Alfred Molina,
yeah.
blimey.
Well, this was his first film.
Oh, was it?
No
It
way.
was, yep. This is what made
Did
him
you
a
see
star.
Paul Freeman's, a.k.a. Ivan Ooze?
Christ. That's a commentary.
Anyone who's a
corner of
Power Rangers fan will know that reference.
its own. Yeah.
I've never watched this in 4K. This is...
No, this is my first time as well, so
is
let's see if
beautiful.
it
Yeah.
pulls
No,
off.
it makes the
If
donkey
transfer's
look
any
really
good.
attractive.
He's just been told he can't take his liquids through.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
Is that Alfred Molina there?
It is.
That's him there, yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Brown-faced.
I mean,
Can never get away with it nowadays.
not in the slightest.
So the guy on the right is Vic Tablian.
Oh, okay.
And you will see him later in another role.
Ah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'll point him out to you. One of two actors who appeared twice within the film.
Oh, okay.
There's no real setup. It goes kind of straight into, we assume who he is and everything about
Yeah, it's
him.
like we already know the character
Yeah.
straight away, isn't it?
You know, you haven't seen Indy's face yet.
No, you haven't. You don't need to.
No.
It tells you everything you need to know. 3 days.
Could you do this word for word?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah?
It's like the lightsaber fights
I
from
won't,
Star
'cause it'll
Wars.
get boring. I mean,
So go on.
No,
Go.
go.
I was just going to ask, what was everyone's first experience with this? Mine was a really shoddy VHS copy that my grandparents had recorded for me off of ITV. How about you guys?
Mine was an official version.
Official?
Official VHS. And it was my aunt's copy. And the only reason I got to watch it was because I was babysitting my cousin. And I put it on. I wasn't allowed to watch it until then.
Oh, really?
And then after that, but I must have been, 13 when I watched it?
Okay.
So it's a long time after it came out. But yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch it up until then.
I remember watching it, and there was like a part at the beginning here that used to terrify me as a kid. I would never get past it until later in life. Then I was like, okay, I'll get past it. It doesn't scare me as much now.
This was a very early VHS rental for us as a family. We were into this sort of film. My dad primarily, and my mum would sort of tolerate him, but I think he knew deep down that this was going to affect me for the rest of my life. Because I significantly remember sitting down. I mean, I can't even remember how old. I must have been 3, 4, 5. But he said, "You're going to enjoy this film." And he was right. This is now my number one film of all time.
Oh, damn it. How are we going to save that for the end? I'm only joking.
No.
There we go.
There's no way you were going to be able to hide that.
No, I'd say this is probably my top 5, I would say. My top 5 of all time. Definitely. I love this one. I love the whole franchise, honestly.
I watched the knockoff version of this before I actually watched this. It's the old King Solomon's Mines.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so
I remember that.
Is that the one with Sharon Stone?
Yeah. Really early Sharon Stone.
It's so terribly amazing.
Yeah.
It is. It really is.
It is.
I mean, Richard Chamberlain, he puts in a good turn, but it's just it so wants to be Indiana Jones and doesn't.
Yeah. You get it. Like I say, it's the Audi version of Indiana Jones.
Lidl. Yeah.
This scene, I highly suspect, gave me arachnophobia from a very early age.
Yeah, me too, probably.
Gives me the creeps every time I see it. And whenever I think about spiders, I always go and reach for my back. Genuinely. Can't be doing with it.
Dude, I can't handle the insect scene in Temple of Doom.
Oh,
That's
no,
the part.
Crawling over the place,
I can't do that bit.
The interesting fact about this is that the tarantulas,
2 or 3 on it.
they are all real tarantulas on him,
Yeah.
but they literally just sat there doing nothing. And a animal handler turned around to Spielberg and he said, "Right," he said, "if you throw," because they were all male, if you throw a female into the mix,
They'll go crazy.
And they went absolutely mental. Because Harrison Ford turned around to Alfred Molina. He said, "Just look scared, look scared." He said, "I'm shitting myself."
I would be an all.
Yeah, I would be an all.
Forest.
I mean, this movie has got to be like the one that's for future movies. It's just anything with a tomb or a pyramid or something, whatnot.
You cannot help.
It has the vibe of indie in it all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah, you are just recreating the whole ethos of this film.
Even Lara Croft. I don't think you get Lara Croft without this.
Without indie, no chance. Even Nathan Drake, you don't get without indie.
No, exactly.
All of them. Every single one came from this. What is interesting, though, is that the look and the concept of this of Indy as a character in this film came from a film called Nevada Smith.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which was a Steve McQueen vehicle back in 1966.
Okay.
And when George Lucas originally pitched this idea to Spielberg, he basically sold him the idea and he said, "Yeah, I want it to be like Nevada Smith." Well, Spielberg wasn't happy about sort of stealing that identity. He said, "Look, I like the idea of an everyman, an everyday name." He said, "but not Smith."
No.
I'm sure we've all heard the story about the fact that
It's named
George
after the dog.
Yeah, he had an Alsatian called Indiana, a Malamute crossed with an Alsatian, and that's where he got the name from. But yeah, Indiana Jones was created through the fact that he had this beloved dog who later on inspired Chewbacca.
Oh, no way.
And George Lucas's love for the Steve McQueen film Nevada Smith.
Don't they bring that up in Last Crusade?
Yes, he does.
Yes, they do.
Like Sean Connery says.
Very early on, he goes, "Dad, don't call me
You're
Junior."
named after the dog.
Now, I love, we just missed it, but I love the part where Alfred Molina's character is about to walk into it.
Yeah.
And
Indie
Indy's like, "That's what scares me." I love the fact that he's like, he's done this before. He knows this is too easy.
But when he grabs him and he pushes him to the side,
Yeah.
and Harrison Ford really sells that.
Yes,
It's not like, "I'll just
absolutely.
step aside," but he pushes.
No,
He's
no,
like,
no, no.
"There is danger here, man."
Yeah.
Just to make him understand on some physical level.
Yeah.
Such an iconic scene.
Oh, this has got to be. I mean,
They've had
when
the
you-
piss taken
And that
out
was
of
the
it for
mistake.
years.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
The
parody
handful
after
of
parody of
sound
this,
Parody
isn't
after
it?
The Family Guy version of it as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Brilliant.
The Simpsons one, when he's after Homer's savings. You sound like the guy from Crash Bandicoot, the little mask.
Uh-oh.
Oh no!
No, it wouldn't be a temple scene without it all crashing at the end, right?
No, of course not.
And without
there's no explicable reason why it should all start just crashing down around his ears, but
along with Harrison Ford's awkward run.
Well,
So
if
I
it was
thought-
Kurt Russell, we wouldn't have done it,
yeah,
mate.
if it was Kurt Russell playing him.
adios, senor. What a bastard.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is what gave me... I mean, I love all the Tomb Raider films and games and stuff, you know.
But I love how this one film has spawned such a
God,
yeah.
massive generation
Yeah.
of like Tomb Raider and all that
Oh,
sort of
God,
stuff.
yeah.
Well, it's
whatnot.
called a genre.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the recent Mummy films with Brendan Fraser. That has, even though it's in Egypt and stuff, it still has that element of it.
Everything from this.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Millionaires got
That
me
used to
piercing.
scare me as a kid, that bit.
Oh, it's very well done.
And for a PG,
Yeah.
you've got to admit, this is like,
Well, this would have
Oh,
been
here we
the
go.
first film to give you an R rating.
Yeah.
It was only because certain cuts were made that it sustained its PG
Really?
rating. Yeah, but this would have been the first R
but
rating.
this has so many. I have no idea how this is still a PG to this day.
Yeah.
You know, faces getting melted, people getting shot in the head and stuff.
Yeah.
Little interesting fact about the rolling boulder: it was made from fiberglass and made no sound.
So they added the sound.
Yeah, the sound effect was
Ben Burt himself, he's got the master, hasn't he, behind
when
the
it was
sound, isn't it?
created from one of the crew driving up their gravel driveway and realising that it sounded pretty damn good.
Wow.
I love Paul Freeman. I think he's so
Great actor, but can't pull off a French accent
no,
for
it's poor.
anything.
not at
It's
all.
poor, but you believe in his villainous intent. This time it'll cost you. Yeah, I've got to stop doing that. Sorry.
No, keep going, mate. Honestly, when we do the Aliens episode, I'm going to be quoting that son of a bitch.
Oh, I
Hey
can't wait for that
Vasquez,
one.
you ever been mistaken for a man?
No.
Have you?
I love it. It just like, yeah.
Now, doesn't the plane have something on it?
Yep.
Does it?
Does it? I swear it does.
You'll have to tell me that, Ant. Again, another scene that's been homaged so many times in Family Guy and Simpsons. And,
See?
CPO.
There you go.
Yeah.
whoa, couldn't possibly be. Yeah, but it's OB, as in
CPO.
Obi-Wan, and CP. Yeah.
Clever.
And you'll see that recreated in Temple of Doom right at the beginning when they're escaping from Shanghai.
Yeah.
Clive
Yep.
Obi-Wan.
Which I never knew till a couple of years ago that was
I
there.
didn't know till just then.
Well, John alluded to something earlier. There is another little nod to Star
Yeah.
Wars later on in the film. But I'm gonna let my friend sitting to my left point that
So
one out.
do we know the reason why George never wanted to do this in the end? Because it's his character, his story, isn't it? At the
They,
end of the
they
day?
talk about it, don't they? In one of the interviews, he didn't think he could do it justice. He
Yeah.
didn't believe in himself.
Right.
So he then went to Spielberg and went, because it was after Jaws,
Yeah,
wasn't
they were
it?
mates, weren't they?
Yeah, they all went to
they
the same
are,
school,
yeah.
didn't they?
He had the vision. He just didn't feel he had the directing chops
Yeah.
to be able to pull it off.
Right.
So yeah, he just approached him. He said, "Look, he said you're the man for this job."
But I assumed he was there on the set with Stephen doing
Oh,
these
he
and
would have.
whatnot.
Yeah.
And how he just never thought, you know what, I'll do one of the sequels or something. He just never did,
How
did he?
annoying do you reckon he was?
Oh,
just,
yeah.
just sat there next to him. I wouldn't have done it like that.
Yeah.
That's not how I would have done
Well,
it.
that's why we waited so long for number 4, wasn't it? Because
Yeah.
of George. Because he didn't want it done a certain way.
Show a little backbone.
So we get the setup at the beginning, the scene within the movie that doesn't necessarily relate to the rest of the movie, through the fact that Steven Spielberg originally wanted to do a James Bond.
Yes.
That's why we've got that, because that's a very heavy staple of a James Bond film.
And there are elements of James in Indy big time.
Oh, yeah, massive.
And it was only because George Lucas and Cubby Broccoli, obviously was in charge at the time of hiring and firing. He said, "No," he said, "I don't want you." He said, "You're not the right man for the job." And plus, 1941 sucked.
Yeah, it wasn't that great, to be honest.
So it was George who turned around to Stephen and he said to him, "Don't worry about James Bond." He said, "I've got something 10 times better than that." And this is how he brought him on board.
So it definitely makes sense how he always gets the girl and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and he's got the swagger and the attitude, but still vulnerable and an everyman at heart.
I think this is the only one that really emphasizes on the fact that women love him. Like one of the like now, they're all besotted over him, aren't they?
Yeah, because of the fact they were trying to mould a James Bond-esque type of character. I'll lead into something in a little bit when we get to it. But the young girl that was just sat there right there with the lovely one on eyelids, there's something else within the film that alludes to that. But I love the aesthetic of this film. I just think that...
Yeah, because it's like, was it 1936 or something? It's
36.
supposedly set.
Yeah, it's just such an amazing period of time. And a lot of the sets that you see are so meticulous and deliberate from Spielberg because, again... I mean, he'd done Jaws and Close Encounters and he was famous and loved for that. But because of more recent flops, the film studio said, right... this has to make money. We're not sure if this is going to make money. So he spent months detailing sets, locations. He even made scale models, everything, even this classroom.
I'm just looking at some of the framing. It's just a little bit strange because they're off to one side. So you get the classroom, like they're emphasising on the classroom more than they are the characters.
And I think it's purely just to show off the set.
Yeah. I can imagine so. Like, there's so much detail in everything. The benches,
it's like it's trying to make you feel the set, doesn't it? In a way.
Yeah, you live it and you breathe it.
Because not till now that they're now central again on the screen.
Yeah.
Not even for that long.
So the agent in the grey suit. Do we recognise him?
He's in other movies. He's in other 80s films, but I can't pinpoint which ones.
Porkins.
No.
Yes, that's right.
It's Porkins from Star Wars.
From Star Wars.
Porkins standing by.
I have to admit, this was the film that sort of put me in perspective that I never knew Hitler was into stuff like this.
Oh yeah.
Because
He was a
I was only a
collector,
child
wasn't
at the time, so I wasn't really into
It wasn't really
what the war
Hitler
was and
as
stuff.
such, it
But
was more Himmler.
Yeah,
And he was guiding Hitler.
Well,
He
Hitler
was all big into the occult.
He was like a sort of a grimmer worm tongue in his ear, wasn't he? He was like, you need... this is
Hitler
what
was
you
into
need to
art,
do.
wasn't he? He was into art and he was into kind of history to a degree. And then that kind of conjoined into everything that, this kind of alludes to. The relics and...
I think it's more recent films like Monument Men, isn't it?
Yeah.
That really highlighted the fact that he absolutely went on, and it was not on a global scale of death, but it was an atrocity within the war that was just as great.
yeah.
the amount of stuff that was destroyed during that as
taking
well.
history away from everybody.
Do you think that's why the other ones sort of failed as much, because the Nazis weren't involved in it as much? Like, the times have moved on. Number 4 is like set in the 50s, and number 5 is in the 60s. It's away from that, what we're used to, indie sort of thing. And do you think that's why those other ones failed? Or
They like the staple idea of Indiana Jones, and you always put Indiana Jones with Nazis. They're the protagonists. But I think the period setting of the 50s and the 60s of the last two films were absolutely right. And
because he would have aged, you know. You can't do all 5 films and it'd be the same year or two. Do you know what I mean?
But look, if you talk to most devoted indie fans, they always mention either Raiders or Last Crusade. Because if you think about it, Temple of Doom doesn't have any Nazis in it either, and the other two, I think, 5 has some at the beginning of it, but apart from that, they're all just away from it. So do you think it's like the fans are saying, like, it's not an indie film without Nazis in it
but
or
I also
something?
think that this set kind of the first Indiana Jones set this whole idea of he's interested in religious relics, you know, the Ark and all that sort of stuff, and then then Temple of Doom goes into a different religious relic because it's nothing to do with you know, Christianity or anything like that. and that kind of throws it out a little bit. It goes into like the occult, and then the follow-up to that is then Last Crusade, which goes right back to Christianity and its relics.
Exactly.
And I think that's why those two are talked about in the same vein, just because that tenuous link, which also then goes back to the Nazis.
Sure.
And that.
But Temple of Doom was the correct evolutionary step for the character, because even literally in this scene, they go, "Oh, professor of archaeology, expert in the occult."
Yeah.
That is his thing.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of explore. You can't just go, "Oh, Indy's fighting Nazis this week." Yeah, great. Okay, we've seen it.
Yeah,
we've
there's
done
more.
that. There's so much more. But like any fandom, we've seen it with Star Wars recently. We see it with Doctor Who. People just they latch onto something, they don't like change, and sometimes it's a step too far for them, and that's fine for them. If they want to continue watching the same two
the
films,
story needs to evolve, so you have
It does,
you kind of have to grow with it. The character will grow with it too.
I loved this scene. I just loved Harrison Ford explaining it and chalking it out on the board and going through the
I love it when he opens the book and has the picture and
Testament on the
explains
side.
it. Yeah,
I used to rewind this scene purely because I was so interested in the subject as well as the topic of the film.
Yeah, you see, I did Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, Roman mythology. I did all of this. So I'm big into all of this.
So,
go on.
Ant and I went to a Catholic school. And if you can imagine, like, quite a lot of this is quite prevalent to the teachings of that school. So when you go in and they start talking about, you know, the Ark was created, you're like, I know all about that. It was found by Nazis, Indiana Jones.
Just put the film on and we'll learn all about it.
But you saying that, right? I remember years ago when we were going into science class and they were, you know, talking about how DNA is coded and stuff, and they would just literally play the Mr. DNA scene from Jurassic Park. I was like, well, I knew about that anyway because I love that movie. So
this scene here where the guy goes, "Good God," and then he says, "Oh, that's exactly what the Hebrews thought." I still say that to this day when everybody says, "Good God." Nobody gets it. It's a reference lost on everyone, but it makes me chuckle.
Every time I hear that "Good God" part, I think of Independence Day, Randy Quaid. When he hears the radio saying, "Good God." I've been saying it for 10 damn years. Ain't I been saying it?
Right, so earlier on you were talking about Indy being a bit of a ladies' man and a bit of a James Bond-esque type character, and the fact that the ladies loved him. Brody's now visiting his house, so obviously he's gone to the US government. They've said, yeah, we want you for this. Yep. If you notice the way that Indy's dressed here, he's kind of in a bit of casual wear. He's
like a dressing gown.
He's throwing a dressing gown on. When we get to the table, you'll notice that there's a couple of glasses, a bottle of champagne.
Yeah.
And you'll even hear a car drive away. If we listen carefully.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, a car driving away in the background. The girl with "Love You" on her eyelid.
No way.
Was he was entertaining her this evening, and there's an actual scene where he hurries her out through the back door. Spielberg didn't really like this. It was filmed, it was done, but he said that's not the Indy vibe. That's not the character I want to portray. He's not that guy. It's too sleazy.
Yeah, I take it they didn't have the teacher-student policy back in 1936.
Different time, different, but he said that's.
They probably did, but it was more like, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. She consented.
That's not my Indy. He said, I want that cut.
Fair enough.
I know, like, the Indy March is one of the best scores, but I love the Marion theme. It's one of my favourites ever. Yeah, I absolutely love it. Even though it changes its tone halfway through, it does. Just that beginning bit when it's Marion's theme, I love it.
I mean, the tone from Marion's theme into the Ark section of the whole march, I think, is genius on John Williams' part. And it's not just because I love this film, but this is my favourite soundtrack of all time.
Yes, definitely, it's definitely one of my favourites. But I love how we missed it again. Just with Marcus here, it's like how he's like, you know, you going after the Ark. It's like nothing you've ever gone before. It's like he has like a terrified face, like he's not going to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, Pan Am.
Yep.
Do you know whose eyes are in this set?
I do.
So I'll leave you to it then, mate.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, what's always interesting about this film is that scenes where he's not in his leather jacket, he has a grey fedora.
Yeah.
So now and at the very end, it's a grey fedora as opposed to the brown. So we're meant to believe that this is Mr. Lacey as Arnold Tote. It's not. It's in fact Dennis Muren, who was visual effects.
Yeah, ILM visual effects. Yeah.
No way.
He had a passing likeness to him, so they decided to have him stand in just to film that scene.
And how easy is this? Like, we know he's travelling the world, but I love that the
line.
You're with him on that red line, aren't you?
Whoever came up with the idea of this, I think that it's now timeless.
And don't you think? Do you think that Lord of the Rings sort of like took it from that? Because there's a part where they had the map and they point, and they bring it down, and they point again.
That's an example of you cannot do that without copying this.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes
it's a really good transition because otherwise you sat on a plane with him.
You are, yeah. Or he gets cut immediately to this scene.
Or he gets on the plane, he gets off, and then you go to, like you say, this scene.
And the fact it tells you, because usually you'll get the scene cut and it goes, oh, Nepal.
Oh, yeah,
next day or whatever.
Bottom,
Sometime later or whatever. You know what I mean?
5 years later.
Oh, drinking games back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Jubilee Jack would never let you stay in there if you're doing that.
Well, I mean, they would, up until the point you started to
find out you're mixing your drinks. Bastarde.
I truly believe that the archetype of Marion Ravenwood is how I've led my life from that point forwards. Every single woman in my life has been exactly the same.
I put her up there with Ellen Ripley.
Oh yeah,
she is absolute badass. Marion Ravenwood.
Mm-hmm. It's another bit of Lucas, isn't it? Unconventional female leads, or female characters.
Oh yeah.
You look at from Star Wars Princess Leia and then into this. They're both strong-willed. They're both they don't back down.
Atypical.
Not atypical of the time. Definitely not.
Strong, confident women back then.
Yes.
They didn't push her in. She exists beside him. And she's a strong character herself, but they're not pushing her saying, "Oh, she's going to be the next indie" kind of a thing, which is kind of what they're doing now. And you think
totally owns the role,
and she doesn't feel like a sidekick.
No, she doesn't.
No,
at all.
Yeah,
no, she's there with him.
Yeah, all the way through.
She's
I think that's what changes in Temple of Doom as well, because in Temple of Doom, the female character in that is just weak, feeble, kind of Charlie's.
But I think she was designed to be that way, wasn't she?
Yeah. But it doesn't
annoying.
Yeah, she is.
But I fell in love with Karen Allen, and I think I completely changed my life forever.
But she's not just famous for this; she's done a lot more of her movies
she was
as well.
in National Lampoon's Animal House.
Starman.
Starman.
Good film. Yeah.
Yeah, she was big at the time. She went more into. She went onto the stage. She was in stage plays for a lot of the later 80s, early 90s, and then started making a little bit of a comeback.
Who else was in Animal House? The late Donald Sutherland.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Time of recording this, he died a couple of days ago, wasn't it?
He did.
Yeah.
Very sad.
Yeah. Fabulous actor.
He'd been ill for a while, though, apparently, hadn't he?
So we know her dad used to be an archaeologist then, or... He has the medallion for the piece that they need.
Abner Ravenwood, and they allude at the very beginning when they have a conversation with the G-men from the government that he was involved in the Tanis dig to look for the Ark of the Covenant. It's probably clearer towards the end of the film that he had been shanghaied. He had been brought in and told by the Nazis, if you don't do this, things are going to happen. He goes missing, probably killed.
Yeah.
But he was the original owner and discoverer of the eye of the headpiece, the Staff of Ra.
Doesn't his name come up later on as well in one of the other films? I'm sure he's mentioned in one of the other films.
So when Indy and Mutt are out looking for in Crystal Skull,
yes,
and they're looking for the Crystal Skull, and there's a little bit of a scene where there's danger, and they say to John Hurt's character, they've got Abner's little girl. You need to snap out of this.
That's
They've got
what I remember.
Abner's girl.
Yep.
But
he is that he obviously knew her father.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because they work together, and which is how Indy
Henry
knew.
Jones Jr.
Auto writing. I can't help but whenever I see this scene now, I just think of the SNES computer game where you have to make your way out of the burning.
Did you used to have it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think I had this for the Commodore.
Right.
Commodore 64, that and Temple of Doom.
Right.
Which
Commodore
took
64,
Temple of Doom took donkey's years to load. And I'm not
Was that the
joking.
old cassette as well, so it sounded like
Yeah,
whimpering rats.
I remember starting it at 12. We would literally have our roast dinner and stuff, and still come back. It was still loading.
What, the age of 12?
The age of 13,
yeah.
age of 13.
It's still loading now, 30 years later.
Nearly done.
Kids
Almost there.
Power cut.
Stay on target.
Almost there.
Terrible days they were.
The dark
kids
days
these
of computer
just don't
gaming.
understand.
Yeah.
When a floppy meant something different. And a hard disk was actually a floppy disk. But
Yeah.
So I'm just going to mention the fifth one again because it came out last year and obviously it flopped big time. Do you think it's a case of that people aren't interested in this type of film anymore now?
No, I think these films are so iconic that now people are just looking at it and they're thinking, oh, it's a reboot or remake. They're thinking along the lines of...
It's not nostalgia bait, more or less, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
I
it's,
think so,
It's a grab for someone's attention or a generation's attention.
The thing is, they leave too much of a gap. And I think that's what does put people... I enjoyed the film. I thought it was really, really good. But then I see it as the next film, not the fact that it took 20 years to make it or whatever.
But I miss these as summer blockbusters. Like, there's never a summer blockbuster where there's like a tomb, a pyramid being like raped or whatever sort of thing. It's just I don't want to keep waiting for the next Tomb Raider movie. I want something.
Mean, you get the Marvels these days, and that's fine. But it kind of ended with the likes of Independence Day and Godzilla. Once those films were done, the blockbuster it had its day.
Had its day.
Well, they were all action blockbusters, weren't they? They were like there was all something big, and I think there's not so much of that nowadays. There has to be a theme to it all.
Arnold Tote is so creepy. He haunted my dreams.
Was he in anything else after this?
He was not really...
He's not really an actor, was he, or anything?
Ronald Lacey was an actor at the time. I mean, he died quite early on after this, really. He didn't live very much longer. He was in Porridge. He was one of the characters in Porridge.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah, I can't remember the character's name. It'll come back to me. But no, he was in films post and preceding this. But this was his big role.
And he is terrifying, though.
Oh, he is.
There's a scene later, I love how it's so chilling, and it turns out not to be something.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
His mouth hardly moves. The words come out of it, and his eyes just seem dead.
Yeah. I love this shot, how it just rises up, and the light on his face, the heat of the poke.
Yeah.
It's so good.
See, Arnold Tote, his character was going to be quite different to the one that we see. George Lucas had kind of envisaged a character with a mechanical arm.
Okay.
Oh, wow,
and this mechanical arm was
That's so Bond.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Very.
So, again, the origins in Bond.
Yeah.
It was going to double up as a machine gun. It was going to double up as like a radio sort of antenna. Spielberg turned around to look at George. He said, I love the idea. I love the vision. He said, that's a completely different film.
Yeah.
He said, let's ground it. People will appreciate the fact that he's not that type of character.
Oh, here comes the headshot.
Bang.
Like that.
Oh,
PG rated. It's literally blood coming out of his head as well.
Yeah.
How the hell?
Yeah.
And he's on fire.
Yeah.
Man on fire.
Narrowly averted that R rating. So I talked about Vic Tablian, who was in the scene earlier in the Peruvian forest. The Peruvian jungle. Now we have Pat Roach, who's currently beating up Indy, playing his first of two roles within this film. So there he's the giant Sherpa.
Isn't he he's like a well-known stuntman or something?
He was,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, he was an actor in his own right. He was a stuntman. That's what he started out doing. But in the early 80s, he was in Alvida's Aim Pet.
Yes, right.
TVC was Alvida's Aim Pet. So he was a very good actor.
I never realised that was Pat Roach.
Yeah, that's Pat Roach.
Because Vic Armstrong was Indies, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right, yeah. But because of his stature, he was always picked to play the heavy man.
We just don't get those iconic sounds anymore now, do we?
No. The sound that you can hear, so whenever somebody's getting heavily beaten up, you've always, I don't know if you guys know about the Bruce Lee films, so whenever you hear a Bruce Lee punch, it's a guy slapping a melon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whenever you hear a heavy punch in this one, it's lots of leather jackets being punched.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's the sound. The sound used to produce that.
Ben Burt is just one of the best sound designers ever.
Oh, yeah.
On that Foley stage.
The Foley stage, yeah. Foley artist. For years, I never knew what that meant. This is brilliant.
More blood?
Yeah, more blood.
And
My medallion.
And this is where you knew that Marion was not going to take any shit.
Yeah.
She could handle herself. She wasn't the blonde bimbo who was just going to scream at every
exactly.
well, the fact that she did most of that and she was half cut.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
That's true, yeah. I'm your goddamn partner.
And that kind of lends itself to what we were saying.
I remember having the video copy of that, and when she puts the medallion front, it was so muffled I could never make out what she put in front of it for years.
But
Sorry,
in that
Al,
one
go on.
line, she's his partner, not his sidekick.
Not sidekick, yeah. So are we? Is this the same location as they did for Tatooine?
Tunisia.
Tunisia, yes.
Tunisia.
It is. Yes. Yeah. Not exactly the same locales, same country.
Same country.
Did you know about this specific shot?
Removing all of the
Yes.
aerials from the yeah. I think they had to remove something silly like 50 aerials from
TV
the
aerials,
rooftops.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Aerials from the rooftops to make it happen.
Jesus.
John, explain what TV aerials were for the people that don't know what that is now.
Have sky glass.
Well, it was basically a. Well, how would you like if you imagine like a metal
Prong.
yeah
wire.
that were attached to chimneys and whatever in the highest points of people's houses, and that's how you got your TV signals.
We had to tune our TVs to get a channel. Do you remember the old tracking days?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And then we went over to like Sky, so we started getting dishes then.
Yeah, where if you got a cloud go overhead, then you'd lose signal.
It is a genuine kids just don't understand comment, but it is true. We lived our life in a world of snow.
Yeah.
But what you know, to go for all that for that one shot is just
And I think again it's the same with Spielberg mapping everything out and making model. He was so on point with everything. He knew this film was going to make money.
Yeah.
He knew it, but he had to prove it. And it's why I put it up there as one of the most perfect films ever made, if not the most perfect film ever made.
so even the Big Bang Theory didn't ruin it for you.
No, mate.
No, still
No, doesn't matter. Who cares?
no. Just ask it. No, just curious.
Because everything that happens in the film to the end could potentially happen, or doesn't really get
but so
influenced by Indy.
Yeah.
But you don't care.
What a yarn, mate. What a romp.
yeah.
So, can anybody tell me who the original actor who was cast in the role of Sala was?
I want to say Brian Blessed, but
Well, it would be an obvious choice.
Yeah, it
wouldn't
would. Yeah, actually. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Christopher Walken.
Oh, nice.
No, I don't know. I'm just guessing.
No, it was going to be Danny DeVito.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay.
Danny
Shut
DeVito.
the hell up.
DeVito. No,
Shut the hell up.
seriously. And he pulled
I
out.
still think he could pull that off.
I think.
do you know
he
what?
could have done
I
it.
think he would have been a different Sala, but it would have been
by
but
far.
equally
100%
as good.
interest. Yeah,
Equally
yeah.
as good. I love John Rhys Davies. I think he is awesome in this
Oh,
role.
yeah.
He's done a better job.
But
I
he
think,
only
than
he
what-
pulled out purely because of scheduling conflict with Taxi, which he was filming.
Of
at the time.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Kaufman, wasn't he?
So that leads me into, and we all know this one, who was the original actor who was scheduled to play as Indy?
Go on, John.
Uncle Kurt.
I don't know.
Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck.
Oh, of course.
Tom
I mean,
Selleck.
Here you go, Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
Here you
Yeah,
go.
you
Right, so there we have Vic Tabley.
Which, not being funny, on that screen test, he looks like he would have been a good Indiana Jones.
It would have been a different take, but equally as good.
Do you think he would have been as popular?
I think so.
Yeah?
I,
You still
I
think?
think I don't think it's necessarily Harrison Ford that makes.
For a different reason.
Yeah, I think.
So very, very quickly, Mario. That's
Go.
Vic Tablian again, the guy that I pointed out earlier as the Monkey Man.
Oh, that's him.
That's him.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah, same guy.
The guy from the jungle, that right?
Guy from the
Yeah,
jungle.
yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
got killed at the with the darts.
Holy crap.
Yeah, same guy.
I thought I knew this movie well as well. You've literally opened up my eyes.
So
there.
on a recent podcast, I pointed out the fact that very, very recently Tom Selleck had made it be known that he could have played Indy. They could have got round the scheduling
Magnum
conflicts
PI.
with Magnum PI. He could have been Indy.
Wow.
Just purely at the last second. It was 3 weeks before this film was due to shoot.
Jeez.
That
Do
Harrison
you
Ford
think
stepped in.
nowadays he still like kicks himself over?
Yeah,
it?
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he
Say
does.
so,
yeah,
yeah.
he's even gone on record as ruined the day that he was passed
I mean,
up for this role.
we know a lot of actors like with Tom, with Danny, Michael J. Fox have all had their TV careers. I mean,
Yeah.
did they think at the time that TV was the more popular thing than movies at the time then, or?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, movies was movies. You know, you
Yeah.
can't replace it. But TV was on the up, and yeah, we had some big stars at the time. I think the fact that Magnum PI was probably the biggest TV show
Yeah.
in the US at the time.
I
and
watched
the
it
fact
weekly, so
that- yeah, and Tom
Oh,
Selleck was not a
yeah.
movie actor.
if nothing else for the Ferrari Testarossa.
Yeah. I must admit, I
Do you think you would have had a different take on
yeah,
Indy?
it would have been
Yeah.
different,
Oh, yeah.
but I think it would have been as equally as enjoyable and just as successful.
I think Indy would have been more personable because Tom Selleck is a more personal actor.
He is, yeah. I love Harrison Ford. He's
Oh,
my
yeah.
movie dad.
But he's a very stand-off
quite-
actor.
He's quite distant.
Yeah.
He's quite a distant person. I think in recent years he's become, more of your granddad Harrison lovable type. But yeah, back then he wasn't that guy.
No, even in Working Girl, he's kind of very standoffish in that as well. Like he,
On Blade Runner, I mean,
Yeah.
you just take Deckard as a
oh,
character.
yeah,
he
he's,
was perfect for that because
Yeah.
of the nature of Harrison Ford himself. Other names that were considered for the role. Oh, this is brilliant, yeah. Nick Nolte,
Oh, wow.
God,
Steve Martin,
No way.
Bill
Maybe,
Murray.
Maybe.
No,
Yeah,
I don't
and
know.
was close to it, but again, conflicts with Saturday Night Live.
it would not have worked.
No. Bill Murray.
Chase,
No,
No.
Tim Matheson,
No.
an actor called Nick Mancuso,
I remember him.
I know the name.
I know the
Coyote,
name.
who was big at the time.
Who?
Peter Coyote.
Right.
If I show you a picture, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. Jack Nicholson,
Oh, wow.
Mark Harmon,
No.
Michael Bean.
Mark Harmon
Yeah, Mark Harmon.
from
Michael
NCIS.
Bean, maybe. I don't know.
The same.
Wow,
Sam Shepard, Bruce Boxleitner,
Sam
Oh,
Shepard.
bloody hell.
What a random
Bruce
mixture!
Boxleitner as
Yeah.
well.
Wow.
Don Johnson, and David Hasselhoff.
Yeah,
No.
I'm down
Yeah.
for the Hoff doing this.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yep. Right, I don't need to tell you about this scene.
Yeah.
Please, somebody
Yeah.
fill me in.
Didn't he suffer with food poisoning or something, and he couldn't be bothered to do the scene?
100 members of cast and crew were suffering from dysentery from food poisoning.
Bloody hell.
And this is why I'll never go to Tunisia.
Yeah, Harrison Ford, he's gone on record. He said he was so ill filming this
Yeah.
scene, and it was so hot. He basically said, "I can't do it." He said,
Yeah.
"I just can't do it. Can I just shoot the guy?"
Yeah, yeah.
And one of the most iconic
And it
scenes.
is an
was
iconic
born.
scene,
Yeah, it
yeah.
was. Yeah. The only person who didn't come down with food poisoning was Spielberg himself, purely because he lived on a diet of bottled water and SpaghettiOs. He didn't eat.
But do you think though that scene, if like, let's say you don't know that fact about that Harrison having food poisoning, do you think it still brought something to that character? That, do you know what, sod it, let's do it the American way and just shoot him.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I think the Indy we now know was born from scenes like that.
Yeah, because it shows like he knows what to do in that situation.
Yeah,
like
but
when he goes through like all the like at the beginning, he finds the traps, he finds the booby traps. He's aware of the route to get to it all.
And he's not quite the hero. He's like,
No,
I'm just going to shoot you, mate, because that's
Yeah.
the quickest, easiest way out of this
Yeah.
situation, and I've got no qualms about
yeah,
it.
I could beat you to a pulp, but to be honest,
Not
why
the
bother?
best of vans to
No.
go into, really, is it?
You don't want to be shooting, do you?
Would you want to ride in a truck like this?
Schnell, John.
Schnell, schnell,
Snails?
Schnell.
Kartoffelkopf.
Oh, look at that. Bullet shots.
More blood?
Not bad for a
More
PG.
blood, yeah,
More
look.
blood.
Yep,
So, the scene that we're watching,
yeah.
where Indy believes that he's lost the love of his life and
Yeah.
he thinks that Marion is dead, this was the very final scene that they filmed for
the whole movie, yeah.
Oh, wow.
For the whole movie, yeah. Yeah, it was this scene.
Bloody hell.
I just have visions now of the desert, and there's like 3 gravestones. And it's got Marion,
Yeah.
Uncle Owen, Aunt Beru.
And a plethora
Uncle
of
Owen.
Jawas.
Abreu.
Yeah, just
Uncle Owen?
Mate,
Emperor.
for a U-rated movie, they get burned to a crisp.
Oh,
It's
dude,
unreal.
It's terrifying. The man in the bar wishes to speak with you. Come with me at once.
So when I went to Euro Disney, I bought a Disney fedora of Indiana Jones.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
The issue is I've got a small head. So when it sits on my head, it looks like a cowboy hat. I don't think I've got it anymore.
So that monkey scratched that guy for real there. Oh, wow. But he held it together, and apparently he had blood pouring down the side of his face.
Jesus.
And that's how Outbreak happened.
There was a bat involved. So I don't know, there was
Or brain dead.
Oh, yeah. Singaya. Singaya. We need to commentary corner that. That'd be amazing.
So good.
You got the bite.
Earlier when the monkey salutes to, and the Germans salute to the monkey.
That was in the lodge, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it took 50 takes to get the monkey to do that.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, Lucas stepped in because he was so annoyed at the fact that they couldn't get him to do it. He held a bunch of grapes in front of this monkey, and in order just to reach out, he did it in one take.
But they do say dogs can't look up.
They do say the dogs can't look up.
Big Al says so. What film's that from, John?
Pardon?
What film's that from?
What?
The bit that dogs can't look up.
And that Winchester's not loaded.
Go on.
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead.
Sorry, you were watching the movie then. My bad.
Oh,
No,
yes,
that's
we
all
have
right.
to do that.
Yeah.
We have to do a commentary corner on Shaun of the Dead.
100%.
We could do all three, but
Yeah.
In
Shaun
one
of the-
sitting.
At the same time,
Yes.
all three
on
playing.
3 different TVs.
The interplay between these two, I think, is brilliant. So, piss poor French accent, but what a villain.
Yeah.
And I don't think any indie villain has really lived up to this since.
No.
So he's got the same obsession as Hitler did then, trying to figure out what the box is.
Yeah, most definitely.
It's beautiful.
Well, I think he knows what the box is. He just wants the power that's within it.
Right.
Well, it's the fortune and the glory. That's what he was in it for.
But again, all these items allegedly actually exist. They haven't made them up for the film.
Oh no, they were all legends.
Like
they
the
were
Spear
all...
of Destiny and the
Holy Grail.
all these things. They all allegedly exist.
Well, the staff even allegedly existed because it was
Staff of
Moses'
Ra.
staff, wasn't it? And the one that he turned into a snake.
Uncle Indy.
Saved by the kids.
Yep.
Next time, Dr. Jones. Morning, children.
See, he'd have been better off with like trying to put on a German accent or something, wouldn't he?
Yeah, but I think it was interesting that they put in that international flavour. That he was a French archaeologist
Working with...
French Jewish.
French Jewish
Archaeologists.
Yeah. Yeah, and imagine how uneasy it would have sat with the German soldiers.
There's the monkey.
But they bring that up later, don't they?
Yeah.
Saying
I
about that.
feel very uncomfortable with this Jewish ritual.
Right turn,
No.
Clyde.
And there's another link. Another link to Lord of the Rings as well, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes, of course, John Rhys Davies. Yeah,
Of course, yes. He's Gimli, isn't he?
Yeah, he's Gimli, yeah.
He was in one of my favourite TV shows of all time as well, John Rhys Davies.
Sliders.
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 Loved Sliders.
Yeah.
Jerry O'Connell.
Yep.
That's it.
Going through alternate reality. Basically, it was another knockoff of another TV series. So it was a knockoff of Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Do you know, I never thought of it like
Time
that.
Tunnel was good. I don't know if you remember that.
Time Tunnel.
Time Tunnel, the original,
I remember
yeah.
Time Tunnel, yeah.
Sunday afternoons.
That type of film was quite good. I used to love watching things like that.
So we're getting poison dates now, are we?
Mm-hmm.
Bad dates.
Bad dates.
Bad dates.
I am the monarch of the sea.
I always used to say that after the first date went bad. I'd walk out of this restaurant going, bad date. And that guy, he lives in Crawley.
He does.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
Randomly, one of the guys that used to work in the AOB meets up with him.
Does he?
Yeah, they're good mates because he married his... Oh, not married, sorry. He was in a relationship with his sister or cousin, one of the two.
Do you know what his name is?
I don't know his name, no.
Deep Roy.
Yeah.
I nearly got him
I've
to come
heard
to the
that
shop.
name before.
No way.
Loads of things, mate.
He's an Oompa
He's in lots of Tim Burton stuff.
Yeah.
Loompa.
He's the
That's
Oompa Loompa,
right.
yeah.
He is an Oompa Loompa.
Yeah,
He was-
he's been in.
He was also in Lord of the Rings because he played all of the Hobbits when they were doing all the scenes with the Hobbits. He was playing the Hobbits walking up the mountains and stuff to get the size against all the other characters.
Yeah, I nearly got him to come down to the shop. one afternoon.
Really?
Yeah, just to do a little bit of signings and take a few photos and things. Just didn't happen.
But then didn't.
I love this guy. I always thought this guy was Eric Idle.
Yeah,
But couldn't you
I can understand why.
Yeah.
So they've got someone to translate the medallion, basically.
So this is where they are figuring out the height of the staff.
Yeah.
It has to be the exact spot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's every time that Indy goes to take a bite of the date.
Yeah, the old fellow interrupts him.
Yeah. And it's got to be in a certain place.
Certain place at a certain time in the map room. Yeah, the sun shone down through the eye, gave you the exact location of the eye of the Ark of the
Well of the Souls.
Well of the Souls.
We're digging in the wrong place.
In the wrong place.
Uh-oh. Oh, no, don't
This
do
is my
it.
dad's favourite
no.
scene of any film.
Oh, the poor monkey.
Yeah. Dates.
And then we never see that character again now.
The
The one-eye patch guy.
No, he's gone. He's done.
Yeah.
Well, his monkey's dead.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Show's over, monkey died.
Monkey's dead, my career's dead.
Time to go home.
Yeah.
David Schwimmer lives by that.
Oh, what was he called again, monkey in that?
Marcel.
Marcel.
So,
This reminds me of the opening scenes for The Exorcist, only the Nazis aren't in it, obviously.
Yeah. And in Stargate.
Yeah?
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Stargate. Oh, there's a film we should
Yeah.
do a commentary
Definitely.
for
With Uncle
Love
Kurt.
that film.
Give my
Uncle
regards to
Kurt.
King
Uncle
Tut,
Kurt, yeah.
asshole.
Yeah.
I love that. And that's Kurt again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remind me, Mario. Does he run in that film?
I'm just going through my memory and no.
We need to get t-shirts of that.
Yeah.
Uncle Kurt doesn't run.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's many, many years ago. So they're currently at the mouth of the map room in order to find the true location of the Well of the Souls. Many, many years ago, I had a jigsaw of this scene where Indy is standing with the staff of Ra and he's got it pointing down at the map room.
Nice.
It totally random. I mean, it could have been anything, but for some reason, it was that scene. Could I complete it? No, I could not.
You can get so many of them now. Like I think you can get like the official poster in like a puzzle now, can't you? Yeah. They come in like these little blockbuster VHS cases.
Oh, wow.
I want to get the Jaws one.
Of course you do. And that, my friend, was going to be another suggestion for a commentary corner. Can we please do Jaws?
Of course.
Yeah.
Well,
Like my number 3 movie of all time.
There you go.
It's going to happen.
we're going to need a bigger sofa.
What a model, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so envious of this for so many years. I would literally build the map room out of anything I could lay my hands on. Bolts, wood, plasticine, paper.
I love how Selleck falls down as he.
Oh, yeah.
He starts walking down and he just. I think he trips or something.
It does. I mean, whether it's deliberate or not, but it's kind of like a comedy scene, isn't it?
I go, oh, don't kill me.
Yeah, it's kind of mocking them in a way. But it's the look on Harrison Ford's face when he's calling up to Sulla after he's done what he's had to do.
And the rope just
rope
comes
is gone.
down. Yeah.
Chucks the Nazi flag at him.
Doesn't he like tie a lot to make a rope out of it or something? Isn't
Well,
it? Yeah.
he lays his hands on anything he can find
Yeah.
because the rope was gone.
He comes out his dad's notebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Is it?
This one isn't, I don't think, because he gets sent his dad's notebook, doesn't he?
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Oh, no, not his. No, but, I mean, where would the inspiration have come from?
So he's literally got to wait for a time of day for that sun to get to a certain point.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you know, within the context of the film, they timed it so that he wouldn't have to wait around for 4 hours. It was literally within 10, 15 minutes.
So we take it that we obviously don't see it, but Belloc has been in here before and tried to figure out for himself.
Of course, yeah. So in the scene where Tote lays his hands on the headpiece, and it was hot because it was in a fire, and he's rushed out of the bar. But it turns out that he has a copy of one side of the headpiece
imprinted on his hand, isn't it?
Yeah. So they've gone to visit the old man, and the old man has gone, no, it's not 72 inches. Turn it over. You need to take back an inch in order to give to pay homage to the Hebrew god the Ark belongs to. So Indy has the true height of the staff, which gives him the true location of the Well of the Souls, where the Ark of the Covenant is kept.
I love how the John Williams score kicks in on this bit. It used to really... It's quite a scary bit of music, this bit.
It's a haunting piece of music. Yeah. Especially now that the sun is burning through that crystal, through to the map room. The whole scene together, it was very, very... It was ominous, in a way.
I mean, I've been in one of the pyramids in Egypt, and it does look... Parts of it do look a little bit like that, with your hieroglyphics on the wall and stuff. It's done quite well.
There is no chance you're ever getting me in a pyramid.
You can't touch the walls because they've got like a clear perspex now. So, and you're not allowed to take flash photography in there now. But the paint is still on in play. You can still see it. And you think, seriously? There's the Nazi flag.
Thousands of years. Still preserved.
I once lived in a house where you could scrape the paint back years and years and years. Yeah. So I'm not surprised the paint stayed on the walls in the pyramids.
I love that where Harrison Ford, he doesn't understand. He just throws a hand in his face.
I love it. He just he sort of backchats him.
Yeah.
He's got some balls.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say he bumps into her in the tent.
But you dared. Yeah. I just remember what comes next.
But I love the fact that despite episodes that followed this, Marion was reintroduced. Marion is the love of his life.
Yep.
He's the woman that he marries. He's the woman that he spends his life with.
And it's another reason why I like 4.
Yeah. And 5. And Dial of Destiny.
Yep.
It made me sad when I thought that him and Marion were over, but you get that scene at the very end. I was shedding a tear because this is the romance of my life. This is what has influenced me.
Yeah.
These two. He would do anything for that woman, and she would do anything for him.
He says, "I come back to get you."
Yeah.
Because he knows they won't kill her.
They need her.
Exactly.
They don't know that he's there.
No.
Yet.
Indeed.
And I think I actually said that in my marriage speech, actually. When I said it to Lou. Like, I had a bit at the end where it was like, you'll always be my Princess Leia to my Han, you'll always be my Marion to Indy, you'll always be my Mary Jane to Spidey.
Yeah.
Nice.
And she was like, everyone was like, I was trying not to cry at the same time, and it was like, you fucking geek.
Oh, no. I would have been with you on that one, mate. That was nice. What a lucky woman she is.
But I was like trying not to. I was like, crying, you'll always be my Lois Lane to Superman. And everyone's just laughing at me. I'm like, for fuck's sake. But I'm trying to be emotional here.
So Superman, a couple of years before this, but again, Margot Kidder as
I-
Lois
I-
Lane.
Yeah.
All of these women were skinny brunettes, that sort of strong-headed brunettes.
Well,
It was very interesting.
I for the longest time thought Margot Kidder was Marion.
Oh, right.
Because
They are very similar.
My ignorance in
Yeah.
films, like,
Actually, yeah. I have the perfect man.
Because I think Margot Kidder was in Amityville, and I always thought it was Karen Allen.
Yeah.
Right. So there we go. So Tote's displaying the fact that he's only got one side of the headpiece on his hand.
Yeah. And he got.
Or was he just saluting?
Well, a bit of both.
that as well?
Bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit of both, yeah.
It was a nod to the viewer. So, I don't know whether any of you chaps or any listeners out there have ever watched the greatest fan film of all time, Raiders and Adaptation.
No.
Yes, wasn't it a homemade video thing? It was shot for shot homemade video.
Shot for shot, yeah. So,
we've seen that, haven't we?
Yeah, and then they did a documentary for it afterwards because they never got one shot.
So literally, no, more than that, mate. Literally, the months after this film came out, the two guys who were just in their early teens at the time, had a home video camera and, without any reference point, they kept going back to the cinema.
It was like Sweden before Sweden even happened.
Yeah. It was the first Swedish film, really. I mean, shot for shot, and it was so accurate. Yeah, you got a few deviations. Some things weren't great, but they literally reproduced the whole film from memory, from teenagers into adult men, and it was only in recent years that they recreated the final scene that they couldn't do.
So they couldn't do,
Which was the plane.
Yeah.
And as adult men, they got a Kickstarter together, a GoFundMe, and they produced this final scene. Yeah. The guy who even sort of spearheaded the whole thing, he was the major driving factor behind it. He left his job and started up Rolling Boulder Productions. Rolling Boulder Productions, and they now produce sort of indie films, as it were. Based off the success of Raiders and Adaptation. But I always remembered it because it was on news rounds, the very early 90s, because it garnered some sort of success then, and it started going to underground film viewings. So you'd watch certain films and then Raiders and Adaptation would be shown because it was doing the rounds and it was on news rounds, and I always remembered it. I always remembered that one scene, hanging onto the back of a car trying to reproduce the truck scene. And then a couple of years later, when Raiders and Adaptation came out on DVD, and I thought, do you know what, got to invest in it, got to give them my money.
Yeah, it's all right. So you actually did Kickstart it for them?
Yeah, helped you out. Yeah.
Nice, mate.
Got my copy.
I only know of it because I used to collect Empire and Total Film magazines back in the day before, obviously, internet kicked in. And they mention it on there. And obviously, with, like I said, the internet sort of kicked in months after, and you could see segments of it on there. You can see the whole thing. Yeah. And then, obviously, Netflix a couple of years ago put the documentary out about that specific thing, trying to get that one shot and whatnot.
So the documentary came off the back of the Kickstarter for the final scene for the film.
I don't think I've seen that. Is it still on Netflix?
You have to watch it.
I don't know if it's still on there.
If not, I can get you a copy. It's a must-see. Why did it have to be snakes?
Why did it have to be snakes?
So in order to film the snake scene in The Well of the Souls, Spielberg visited London and emptied every pet shop and reptile house of nearly 1,000 snakes to try and fill that space. Jesus. Did not succeed.
No?
No. In the end, it took film crew cutting up lengths of rubber hosing, miles of stuff, in order to fill the gaps. Yeah. And you don't see it because you see the moving snakes.
Exactly.
But the rest of it is just rubber hose.
Well, he shot it well to cover it up then, if that's the case.
Yeah.
So we're going to play a quick game then of Spot the Hose.
Spot the Hose. So this whole scene between Karen Allen and, I was going to say Morgan Freeman there.
Different film, different indie.
Different film.
And Paul Freeman, this whole scene ad-libbed all the way through. They freestyled the whole thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, wasn't written.
And it's all done in one shot so far.
Yeah, literally.
And that's what I love about her, because we're all saying that.
Yeah.
And she says it for us.
The reaction is real.
Yep.
But everything from the fact that he's checking her out in the mirror, that he's trying to get her drunk, literally all ad-libbed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what's funny is that Belloc, and even by his own words, his own admission, he said, "I am the shadowy reflection of you. It just take one nudge, one turn to turn you into me, that you'd fall from your chosen path, from the light into the dark." Belloc is essentially the same character. He's just doing it for totally the wrong reasons.
You mean he's another indie?
He's another indie, yeah.
He's the opposite.
And he even picks the same woman.
Is that the ending when Indy's got the rocket launcher and he says that?
No, it's when they're set in the bar. So Indy believes Marion has died, and he's lamenting the fact.
There's a hose.
Yeah.
Boats and hose.
I love it when Indy's going, why does it have to be snakes? And Sully goes, asps, very dangerous.
Yes.
You go first.
You go first, yeah. Because I would say that as well.
Yep.
And did you know on the wall, 2 of the hieroglyphics are C3PO and R2D2?
Yeah, that's when they pick up the arc later, yeah.
It's when they're lifting it out.
How'd they do this, Howard?
Just behind
Look
Indy.
at that.
There's a piece of glass separating Indy from that Cobra.
Yeah.
It's shot really well to not see that.
Oh, it is.
No reflection.
You can see there's a slight glint of light on the glass, but it's imperceptible. I mean, you've got to look for it, but you can see it.
What a shot.
Now, Harrison Ford sells this very well because in reality, he's not afraid of snakes.
Oh, isn't it? Oh, okay.
No. However, Karen Allen absolutely hated them, could not stand them. So when you see scenes later when she's thrown
he's like, me?
when you see scenes of just her legs or she's hanging from the statue and things like that, it is in fact, and I will get my name. So we had a snake handler who was not afraid of snakes, and Spielberg turned around to him and he said, "Do you mind shaving your legs, putting on a dress, and doubling up as
No,
yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Wow.
because he was the only one."
She was that terrified.
She was that terrified. Of
I
him.
feel cheated.
Yeah, don't get too excited, mate.
Gulp. I love when he tries it now. He's like,
Stephen Edge, his name was. So he was a British snake handler who was brought in to handle the snakes. But yeah, Stephen Edge. So sorry, Mario.
Damn.
All those teenage years getting excited.
the snakes aren't moving now.
No, rubber hose, mate.
Yeah. He's burnt them, hasn't he?
Rubber hose. It's my punk band name.
I wonder what the album's going to be called.
Rubber hose and Stephen Edge's legs.
You kind of like get the impression from him. It's like, you know, what it would be like if you
There is John on the right there.
What?
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Just to his right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now to his left, yeah.
You know, like, of finding something that's been hidden or for thousands of years.
Yeah, you kind of get that when he just stopped for a sec.
He's like almost
Like any other person would
he's
open up straight away.
Yeah, he's caressing the top of it as if to say, like, I've finally found you, you know?
Well, it's a monumental discovery.
Yeah.
Well, I love that Spielberg, every scene put a lot of thought into it. They just removed the top to the sarcophagus, as it were.
Yeah.
And they've thrown it onto the floor. But to mask the fact that it's hitting the floor, crack of thunder.
Yeah. And it goes with the effect of the sound of it actually crashing on the floor, doesn't it?
She plays drunk very well.
I'm going to say, he doesn't realise, of course, that she can hold her liquor on a lot better than he can.
I mean, just imagine this was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah.
Especially as it was an ad-lib. So this is your sinister scene, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he's only holding her with one hand and she drops the knife. It's like...
I think it's more his
presence, isn't it? It's
he's
just,
so sinister.
I love this bit.
I'm frightened of this man.
He's very like.
I love how it looks like a torture device of some sort.
He just straightens it
with
out.
the glasses and everything.
But what's interesting though, and I'll have to find out later, but Christopher Lee did exactly the same thing in another film, and it was borrowed from that film.
They took it from this, or they borrowed this.
They took it from the other film. Yeah.
Do we know what movie it is?
I can't remember.
No?
It's got to be one of the many Draculas, isn't it?
I was going to say, he's done a lot of Dracula films, hasn't he?
Bride of, brother-in-law from.
Dracula 1972.
Second cousin.
That's what I'm well into this Nosferatu that's coming out soon. That does look really good.
I love the style of this box as well. It's like for such a torture device, it doesn't look.
Well, it's technically not a torture device, is it?
No.
Well, not torture device, but like what holds great power, isn't it?
Because allegedly it holds the tablets that were given to Moses.
Yeah.
So the 10 Commandments that were brought down from Mount Horeb and smashed.
Yep. Holds Charlton Heston's lunch order.
Yeah.
So even in the background, you can already hear.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, the Ark of the Covenant. And what I loved was later films, every single time it was referenced or there was a little glimpse of it, you could hear that Ark theme.
Especially in 4 when you see it again in 4.
It's such a fan-pleasing scene, but I literally leapt out of my seat when it was there. I thought, yes.
So when they went into Area 51 at the start, you just knew as a fan it was going to pop up somewhere.
Had to be.
Well, because it shows you at the end of this, doesn't it? And it burns the
distance
side of the box. Does it
the
not?
symbol burns the Nazi symbol, doesn't it? They didn't really hide it very well, did they?
Well, no. I mean, I don't think they intended it for it to take as long as it did, but.
No.
The Germans.
Yes.
I love when the rope drops. Indy has the reactions as to go, solo again. But.
What are you doing in such a nasty place?
Yes.
That's the closest he's been to French the whole time.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
You son of a...
Again, that's what made Belloc. He was a likable character. You hated him, but you liked him because he was charismatic, and I think it's kind of like the Doctor and the Master, and he didn't want to get rid of him. He was just simply in his way. That damn fiberglass.
Yeah.
Damn the Disney engineers.
So I love how you've got the tall statues of these Anubises, whatever it is, with the big mouth in there, right? Indy climbs one later on, and there's a snake hiding in the mouth. How the fuck did that get in there?
No idea. Well, I mean, snakes can climb, so
that's one hell of a climb for a snake.
Hey, it looked good.
Yeah, it's good for the moment, I guess.
Yeah. Adieu. Tote laughing as he walks away. I mean, what a sadist.
How scary must that be? Like, oh shit, we're going to be stuck in here
Being
forever, man.
tuned, yeah. With
All these snakes
no
that don't
way out.
move.
Yeah. Is that your greatest fear, Ant? Entombed with rubber hose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except for this bit, it's a rubber hose.
How did she mistake that for a snake, man?
Yeah, just
Come on.
pure terror. But this is the thing. I mean, the look of fear on Karen Allen's face is real.
It works well.
Yeah.
Again, another great set build, isn't it?
Oh, it's amazing. There's various making ofs of Raiders where they concentrate very heavily on the fact that this was such a. I think a labour of love is probably the term that should be used for Spielberg, but
something movies miss nowadays is their labour of love.
He does put a hell of a lot of effort into his film.
Yeah, it was one of the biggest set pieces, and it nearly didn't happen because it's one of those things where you look.
That's very Star Wars. That music.
Oh, yeah.
It's like an Imperial March.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nearly an unfilmable scene.
See, how did it get up there?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just chilling, just hanging around.
And it lands on her.
But that's, John Williams' scores often contain a march.
Yeah.
It lent itself very, very heavily to this. But you'll hear it in Star Wars, in Jurassic Park.
In fact, wasn't Dial of Destiny his last ever score to do for film?
To date.
To date.
He had officially retired.
Yes, that's
But
right.
he came back for Dial of Destiny.
Yeah. Oh, no, I thought he retired after that. I didn't realise he retired before.
He had retired because he had this whole. There was this whole thing about it. Was, in fact, I think it was his 90th birthday.
He's like 92, 93, something like that.
They celebrated it. He retired, but then was convinced to come back one last time.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but this scene scared the shit out of me in the day.
Absolutely.
Again, for a PG, I never saw this coming. I literally had to either get the pillow and cover my face or get my mum to fast forward it or something. Just absolutely terrifying.
Yeah. It's where the snake comes out of the mouth.
Just comes from nowhere, yeah. Yeah, that shot when it comes out of that other guy's mouth. Ugh.
It's so well done.
But all the mummified remains.
It's tapping into so many fears.
And
claustrophobia.
All I see now is Poltergeist. Which apparently he didn't direct.
Yeah.
Which, come on, let's face it, we all know he did.
Of course he did. But I truly believe the scream that Karen Allen just gave there, it probably was quite horrible.
Too right.
Now, there must have been a deleted scene here because as soon as they step out of this opening, if you look to your left, there's a guy having a bit of a chill. He's just hanging around, sleeping it off. I can only assume...
What, in this shot?
In this shot. There we go.
Yeah, look.
He's not...
I think he's just sleeping.
No.
All the other guys were sleeping.
I'm assuming that there was a bit of a fist fight or a tussle and he's knocked him out.
Yeah.
You're telling me he's pushed that rock out and that guy did not wake up?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, he's been working all day. I'd be fucking asleep
In the
as well.
heat. Yeah, he's probably passed out, yeah.
Really
I mean,
bad
to these guys, it's just another boulder. Don't worry.
Yeah, completely, yeah. Very German. Drinking in the sun and listening to Wagner. So we talk about King Solomon's Mines.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, what is carried through a lot of the scenes with the German, it's a gramophone.
Yes.
And what's it playing?
It's always playing...
I think it's Ride of the Valkyries.
It is Ride of the Valkyries,
yeah. My belief is that it's possibly a little bit of a nod to that scene just there. Germans listening to German music in the heat.
Isn't the pilot of that plane Frank Marshall?
Yes. Yeah, he is indeed. And, of course, we've got Pat Roach coming out in his second starring role.
Yeah.
So we dive
I love this. I love this fight scene, though.
Oh, it's amazing.
So good.
Essentially, Pat Roach, the German mechanic, just wants to spar with him. He just wants to have a fist fight.
Yeah, he doesn't care about the situation. He just wants to, look, I've got a challenge.
Yeah. Let's have a bit of a fight. You're the American, I'm going to best the American.
But I like how if you notice, he tries the American way again, like, oh, look, what's on the floor?
Yeah.
And tries to distract him.
Oh, yeah, the easy way out. Yeah. Oh, what the hell is that?
What's that?
Well, the stoic German just stands there and takes it. But he doesn't want to kill him. He just wants to have a boxing match.
Yeah.
But then you've got that going on. You've got the pilot at the back.
Yeah.
You've got
What
you've got to get
Marion's
another
doing.
situation where there's petrol leaking out and stuff. So much is happening.
It
in
is. It's a multifaceted scene. It's great.
And there's a part in this fight scene I absolutely love, and it's when Indy's at his last breath, and he's like, "I'm just gonna whack and give it all he does." And he does it 3 times, and you really hear him.
There's
you
real
know,
vitriol behind the punches as well, because he's fighting for his life.
yeah. But then he still gets pummeled at the end as well.
Yeah.
And do you know what? But I just love how he gives it his all, that bit. So look, another situation now. She's locked up in there.
Yeah, the stakes just keep increasing and increasing.
It kind of goes back to you talk about Stallone's Daylight.
Yep.
Yes.
And once one thing has been resolved, something else takes its place.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's very much along those lines. So there's always peril.
Then you've got to dodge your propellers at the same time as well.
And then it somehow knocks off a valve off the top of the...
Oh no.
It's just getting worse. Indy's gun gets pushed into the sand.
What a woman.
That woke him up, didn't it?
What was that?
Yeah, I love that. Potential death and destruction. No.
Stay with the big box.
Protect my asset.
He must have been sweltering in that leather jacket.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Marion.
So what a hero. His first thought is about the girl.
Yeah.
It's still coming for him.
I mean, in real life, there's no way he would have won this fight.
Oh, God, no.
That guy's twice the size of him.
Yeah, but he doesn't
Here we go,
technically
it's
win
this
the
bit.
fight, though, does he?
It's this bit now. He's like, here we go.
Yeah, he does. He gives it
You
everything
say
he's got.
he's enjoying hitting him.
4 times, and then... Do you know what?
Bosh.
Nah. You just can't beat him.
Yeah.
Possibly the most amount of blood in the film
Yeah.
For a PG.
for a PG.
I always love that bit when Indy just gives it his all.
Yeah.
Oh,
And he sort of recreates it in 4, but he wins.
yes.
He does. Yeah, because the guy falls back onto the anthill.
That's
doesn't he?
right.
Yeah. I think it's another little... it's an affectation of the character. It tells you what you need to know about Indiana Jones.
Have you ever noticed, I mean, obviously you would, Howard, because you're such a big fan of this, but all 4 films are sort maybe not, maybe 5, but they're all structured like the big action scenes in the 3rd act, not the final act.
Yeah, it's always
the 3rd act,
Yeah.
and then something happens at the end, which is non-action orientated, isn't it? It's always the 3rd
deliberate.
act.
Yeah, very deliberate.
I think Last Crusade is like the least action in it.
Yeah, apart from that tank scene,
Yeah,
that's pretty much
that's
it. Oh, hang on, and the Venice scene with the boats, that's it.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But this keeps going. Like, we've just had a big
Yeah.
explosion.
Oh,
Now let's
I
have a
love
car
it.
chase.
It's, I mean, he's knackered. He's absolutely fucked. And Solo's just laid it on him. He goes, yeah, he's on a truck, Belfort. What truck?
Yeah. But then again, like you said with Daylight, that's been solved. Now let's bring on the next
Now
situation.
there's the next thing to resolve. And I love this. So Solo turns to him and he goes, what are you going to do? And he goes, I don't know. I'm making this up as I go. Again.
Which is typical. Yeah.
Typically Indian. And a line that I use all the time.
Goggles are goggles.
Get back to Cairo. Get us some transport to England.
Now, I do believe one of the Nazis in this car chase scene is the guy that choreographed Duel of Fates in episode 1.
Oh, wow.
That I bow to your knowledge on that one.
I think it is.
I don't, yeah.
If I see him, I'll point him out. But his name's Nick Storr, something like that. I can't
Okay.
remember. But he's a stunt choreographer, obviously.
Right. Well, it makes sense. You know, a George Lucas vehicle, he's going to take him on board for something else. I always like to think that they're cheering him on at that scene.
Yeah.
I just think Tom Selleck could have used his horse riding skills
Yeah, from
Quigley Down Under.
Quigley Down Under.
Quigley in Egypt.
Quigley goes Tunisia.
That looks like Vic then. I've actually read his autobiography book.
What, Tom Selleck?
No, Vic Armstrong's.
Never read it.
Right.
Never read it. They did This Is Your Life many years ago, and it was Vic Armstrong. And I mean, I knew that he, obviously from this, that he was a stuntman, but I didn't know that he was Harrison Ford's double for so long.
For so long, yeah.
Wow.
And his daughter is married to Andrew Garfield.
No way.
Vic Armstrong's, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He just drags him out. Look.
I know. I love the German he has to fight with at the end of this truck scene because he's so determined.
I love his when the bike gets over to the side of him and his face is like nudge. Off you go. There it is.
It was a German. It was a German.
It was the German, yeah.
I knew it was the truck scene. I just couldn't remember when. As kids, me and my sisters used to piss ourselves laughing at this bit.
It's this bit when the guy's like,
Yeah, this guy. Yeah.
Hello.
But also the human element. They're sharing a laugh there because it was funny.
Yeah.
But you're still my enemy. I'm still going to kick you out of the truck. And there's also the part it's just coming up where Indy's sideswiping the German vehicle.
Yeah,
And he's chuckling to himself.
the
He's having a little bit of a
Mercedes-Benz.
laugh. It's like, I can't do much to you, but I'm getting a kick out of this.
I love how the other guys in the back of the van haven't even clocked that Indy's at the front yet.
No idea. It's just a bumpy ride.
There's a bit, yeah, the little nudge.
Big smile on his face.
Yeah, I love that. Ah! See ya.
There's the Thelma and Louise thing, yeah.
And a nice matte painting there from Ralph McQuarrie.
Yes. I miss matte paintings in movies.
Yeah, so beautiful. And Ralph McQuarrie, for those in the know, worked with George Lucas on a lot of his films, especially Star Wars, and produced a lot of the concept art for Star Wars.
Yeah, the white Boba Fett.
Yeah, the white Boba Fett, yeah.
The white Boba Fett.
Originally, Boba Fett was white, but he didn't.
I never knew that.
He didn't look like he looks now as well.
Wow.
He looked more like, do you know, snow troopers from Empire.
Yeah, yeah.
He looks very reminiscent of one of them.
So it kind of ties into the fact that Django was the original genetic template for the Stormtrooper, the clone troopers. The white Boba Fett was lending to that myth. The white was meant to be because his armour was the template for the Stormtrooper armour.
I never knew that.
So I mentioned the concept art. The concept art for this film was done by an artist called Jim Steranko. Very big Marvel artist at the time.
I was about to say.
You should know that name.
Yeah.
In 4 pieces of concept art, he devised the look of Indy, the feel of the film.
Wow.
He basically came up with the idea for this truck chase. Lots of concepts. If you check it out after the film, but yeah, he basically in 4 frames wrote the film alongside them.
Wow.
Without Steranko's art, you wouldn't get a lot of what you see now.
Can I just acknowledge this bit in a minute is a hell of a stunt, even though you can tell it's forwarded.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
But just to do this is even that there.
Wow, yeah.
So Harrison Ford is strapped to that truck. They could not afford for him to go.
No, of course not. But what Vic does on this next bit is unreal.
It's not.
Is it not Vic?
This is the one scene where Vic Armstrong didn't do it. He didn't have the chops to do it. So
Oh, wow.
A guy called Terry Leonard performed this stunt scene. And if you find a particular making of, I think you can find it on YouTube, a 1981 making of, you'll see the lengths they went to.
That looks like it hurts, man.
Yeah. He came out battered and bruised. I mean, they literally had to dig a trench so that he could slide along inside it. Yeah, so that he could slide along this trench so that he didn't.
But look, you can tell that sped up to do that. But what a hell of a stunt! That's unreal.
You couldn't. That would not be done live today.
No,
it would be CGI'd.
Even Tom Cruise wouldn't do that.
Oh, I don't know.
And he does a lot of his own stunts anyway, doesn't he? But yeah.
Does he though, or do they just deep fake his face on it?
Well,
he does a lot of running.
He always reminds me of Paul Hogan.
Yes.
Yeah. German Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? Yeah. Hogan, yeah, look at him, look.
My God,
That's not a truck. This is a truck.
This is a truck, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel sorry for the German there because he went through all of that and he was putting in a good fight, but then he just
But then
sucked under the wheels of the
to
truck.
add insult to injury, he just run out.
Wouldn't it be funny how Indy's done all that with a bullet in his arm as well? It's pretty good going. And I like how they bring that up in Dial of Destiny. Yeah. Like, I've got gunshot wounds here, and I've been someone tried to rip my heart out at one point, all that stuff.
Tortured by voodoo.
That's it.
The old Mercedes Benz.
Yeah.
Brilliantly done. There we go. Never there.
Omar's garage.
Omar's, yeah. He even says, "Get to Omar's."
Yeah.
I'd love to see the mysterious Omar.
I love the guy. He just throws the melon.
Oh, the barking dog, yeah, because you can hear the dog yelp in the background. A scene that doesn't need to be there.
No.
But it's there for some reason.
But we love the fact that it is there. It's Vin Diesel.
It's all about family. And cars on the moon.
So that scene we've just gone through, would you class it as a car chase scene or a action piece?
I think it's a bit of everything, mate.
Yeah.
Because he chases it for half that scene, doesn't he? And then that's it. Now it's a case of trying to get away.
It's a car chase because he chases it on a horse. No, I think it's more an action piece.
Yeah. I'll just remember that for the car chase episode.
I mean, the interesting thing is that even on the soundtrack, the piece of music is called Desert Chase.
Yeah.
Not a reference to Marion.
Yeah. Even after all of that woman still looks so hot. It's another one for your totty list, Adrian.
Yeah, we'll have to do a totty list sometime, won't we?
You in that totty list, John.
Before we get cancelled, it'll be fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, true.
Before we decide to quit the podcast,
Yeah.
We'll just cancel John.
Yeah.
Is a soaring soul. Now, would Danny DeVito be able to pull off a Welsh tenor voice like that?
I don't.
No.
Every time I think of that, it always reminds me of that scene in Goldmember when he plays this Dr. Evil. Hey, asshole! I'm Mini-Me! Come and get me!
Yeah. Oh, dear.
This is another thing I love about the character. Is like, and we don't get this enough. We sort of got it in Daniel Craig's Bond, but it's the realism of the injury part. They've just gone through.
He's just a guy.
And he's just a guy.
Now he's kind of resting. He's realised it hurts.
Bang.
And it hurts more.
I love it. Did you say something? I love that they recreated this at the end of Dial of Destiny. It's such a beautiful scene.
Yes. Oh man, I nearly cried.
Yeah. Oh,
honestly.
No, I don't.
That part, and when he tells you what happened to Mutt, I nearly cried,
yeah.
mate. Honestly,
and also, where he's saying, "Just leave me in the past. This is where I belong. I can't go back." No, I don't mind admitting I had tears streaming down my face at these points.
Oh, most definitely, mate.
Yeah.
And because obviously Marion's theme kicks in as well on that as well. It's just
it's the ultimate romance.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
This isn't so bad. But also so realistic in the fact that within seconds he's asleep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Off comes that.
I would be after all that. Jeez, I mean, you've been up all night. You've blown up a plane. You've chased a van.
Yeah, but I also think he misses a trick here.
He should have pointed down there, right?
But this scene birthed the most iconic line, and it's what I want on my tombstone. It's not the years, honey.
Yeah.
It's the mileage.
It's the mileage.
Such a great line.
Yeah.
I love how this kicks in. And then done.
Spent. Damn it, Jones.
That's how I feel most evenings.
So
I love how. So, did the rats have a reaction to this?
No, the
No.
rat that you see react actually, and this is genuine.
It
not
climbs
made
up on its haunches,
It actually
doesn't it?
had
This
like
one.
a hearing impediment, or it had something that made it just twist and turn like that.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't ill.
So I never understand why it starts to burn, though. Is it
It's just the good in the box, I guess, against the evil of the.
Yeah,
right? Okay,
the Nazi
of
regime.
the right.
Yeah,
But if you to be believed, the swastika isn't actually an evil thing. It was just.
It's from the Hindus.
Yeah.
Well, it's an inverted Hindu symbol,
Yeah.
so they've twisted it. So that in Hindu religion, it's a good thing,
Yes.
but Hitler inverted it.
Yeah.
And ultimately became known as the most evil symbol of all time.
Yeah.
Next to Hydra.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
So again, one
will
thing
probably-
is resolved, and then the next thing is come to challenge Indy.
The Hydra symbol probably would have done it justice more because they actually have skulls on their hats, don't they?
Yeah, it's called a death's head
There you go. See?
for the SS.
Yeah.
Do you ever see the Peep Show skit where they're like, "Are we the bad guys?
Yeah.
We got skulls on our heads for crying out loud. Are we the
Mitchell
bad
and Webb or
guys?"
something, isn't it? Yeah. I love their RAF pilots. They're fucking hilarious.
Yeah, so funny.
It's your rights, you know. Yes. I got Verucas and that shit.
For some reason, I always thought the burn marks was the box trying to get out of the box. I knew it was the
recognising the evil intent of the Nazi
Yeah.
regime.
Seen him before, that guy in the beard.
I killed him myself.
I like this bit. Again, another scene, and this is something that George Lucas puts in so well because he puts in a lot of Star Wars scenes. It's the things in the background or the ineffectual scenes. Just simply throwing that cigarette into the blowhole. And
How's he even holding himself up in that blowhole?
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's deep in the
We'll ask her
blowhole.
later.
We will take what we wish, and then decide whether or not to blow your ship from the water.
Now, you've already answered the question in the previous episode from M.T.V.B.
Oh, yes.
But the whole thing with him getting on the sub,
sub
my
never
father was so convinced that he got on that sub, and like there's a shot where you see a guy that looks like Harrison Ford with a sailor hat on, and he thought he disguised himself as it and got on there.
Tell me this, how does he get into the sub?
There we go.
Yeah.
He was always convinced that bloke there
Yeah.
was going to be him.
Answer me this.
Yeah.
If he's on top of that sub and it's about to submerge because they go through the motion of dropping periscope and you can hear the siren in the background, how does he get in?
Exactly.
He would literally have to knock on the door and ask to be let in.
Yeah, because they have to be open from the inside, right?
And if he clung to that sub when it submerges, he would drown.
Yeah.
Nobody can hold their breath for that long.
No, exactly.
Yeah. The sub doesn't submerge.
Do you remember the Big Bang Theory episode when they said they go to see their director's cut of Raiders and it totally answers this?
Yeah, this scene.
It's like, it's an extra 20 seconds, but it changes the movie entirely. Would you see Raiders just for an extra 20 seconds of additional footage?
I've been to the cinema to see Raiders. I went to the Royal Albert Hall to see the orchestral version of Raiders. I would watch it. It doesn't matter what you put it on.
I remember when the IMAX finally came to Crawley, our town where we do the podcast, in 2012. The first movie they played there was John Carter, right?
Oh, right.
And then for a week only, after that, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, wow.
And me and my mum went to go see it for there.
Oh, really?
And it was the best ever in IMAX, obviously, but
So this port is a real port, and it's in La Rochelle, in France.
An actual U-boat base.
It's an actual U-boat base that was taken over by the Germans during World War II. Still in existence to this day.
Yeah, it's the only one apparently. They do like visitors. You can visit it and so on.
So you would go and see a complete director's cut of this if it added like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah,
You'd
totally.
still go.
Absolutely.
So I've been rewatching Big Bang Theory,
Have you?
and they do a thing where they try and get, I think it's Sheldon's birthday, and they try and get Sheldon out. So he goes, "Come on, we've got to go see Blade Runner."
Yeah,
but we've seen every single version of Blade Runner. But this one is the definitive director's cut. It's the director's cut that you wanted us to see. It's got an extra 6 seconds of footage.
That's the one when Howard eats the nut allergy thing, and he
eats the nut bar. Yeah.
So good. Please help me.
And when they turn up at the party, Raj is completely smashed off his face, just doing karaoke in the living room.
what was it? They go to the hospital and he says that my friends had a reaction to whatever, and the nurse goes, "Don't be silly, you can't ever." And she looks at him and goes, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, that's it.
Oh dear.
There we go.
There you go.
That's another American way out of the situation.
This is it, mate. He never learns German in the end, does he, Indy?
No.
So in the background, you can see the U-boat captain just at the top of the...
He's very reminiscent of...
Well,
Conning Tower.
the actor is Michael Sheard, who was Hitler in The Last Crusade. He was...
No way.
Yeah, he was Admiral Piaf in Empire Strikes Back.
That's right.
Wow.
And various other roles. And he was also the headmaster in Grange Hill.
Oh wow.
Oh, I remember.
But you'll see him. He's quite a famous actor.
And
He's
Mr. Bronson, wasn't it?
He was Mr. Bronson, yeah. Yeah, so that's it. Where Gobler says, "I'm not comfortable with this Jewish ritual."
He took a chance doing that because he gave himself away.
But again, why did he do it?
Yeah.
It's those little digs. It's like sideswiping the car. Indy is a good man, but he's not a hero.
No.
He's still quite petty at heart. He's really only out because he wants that Ark to put it in a museum to put his name against.
Yeah.
And that's where Bella calls him out. He says, "You're just like me. You're doing it. I just want the glory, mate."
Yeah, Belloc wants the money and the kind of prestige that goes with it, as where I think Jones wants the infamy.
Yeah.
But also to say that he's found everything else about it, all the information.
So, do you chaps recognise this canyon?
Yes. Is this
It's not the
where
one with
Obi-Wan lives?
It's in that region. It's the exact canyon used for the scene where R2-D2 gets immobilised and captured by the Jawas.
Yeah, it's the exact same shot. It's the exact same shot from the top.
Yeah.
Short of a couple of what's it? Sand people just stood there. Hello.
Only me.
Jones?
He can't believe it.
Jones! I'm gonna blow up the air grenade!
And this is it. And this is where Balog says, he says, "You're not going to blow it up because you want to see what's
We need
inside
to fly
it
as
just
well."
much as I do." Oh yeah,
There it goes.
French flies.
Jones,
French flies.
Surely you don't think you can escape from this island?
It depends on how reasonable we're all willing to be. All I want is the girl.
What a guy.
What a guy.
What a man, what a man, what a man.
And your Fuhrer has no prize.
Isn't that in like Fast Show? What a guy.
No, it's
Red Dwarf.
Red Dwarf, yeah.
I'm sure it's in
Ace
Fast
Rimmer,
Show.
isn't it?
Rimmer, yeah.
What a
yeah.
guy.
What a great guy. Straight back to God.
Right back to God. All your life has been spent in pursuit of archaeological relics.
So do you think he convinces him well enough to do it? Or do you think Mindy's like, do you know what, sod it. Just, let's, what the heck?
I think he was
Get
calling
a
his
look.
bluff all along, wasn't he? He was going to...
He always wanted a look. But I think it got to the point where he was just so tired and pissed off, and he knew that the good part of Indy just didn't want it to fall into the hands of Adolf Hitler. Because he didn't know. He didn't know what was going to happen.
No.
In his mind, it's a
But
symbol
then-
of historical power. If Hitler had laid his hands on it, and whatever power was contained within could have won the war.
But then Indy must have some sort of clue, because before something does, he says to Marion, "Don't, whatever happens, don't look at the light."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he
knows.
must have some sort of incline.
He knows, yeah.
I think he's like, there's obviously a legend behind it saying, that such and such a thing would happen if it was ever opened.
Well,
He doesn't, but he
No,
doesn't know
he
it
mentions,
to do it. So
he
he's
does
prob-
mention it at some point.
At the very beginning, he says about the power of God coming
Yeah.
out. Because they did
No
not know what it
mortal man
was.
can see the
Yeah.
can bear witness to the power of God or something.
Yeah, and then he says, "Oh, what do you think's coming out?" And he's like, "Fire, light." I don't know.
Lightning, power of God, yeah. But this is not wishing on the monkey paw,
No.
because you're
Reminds
going
me
to
of the
get
Simpsons episode.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. You're going to get exactly what
I
you
wish for a turkey sandwich. And mustard. That's pretty good. Turkey's a little dry. The turkey's a little dry. He looks like he's got Darth Vader's little button thing in the front there.
Well, he's Hebrew garb.
And they just laugh.
Is it sand, or is it the tablet's meant to be into like
I think it's the tablets ground into sand.
grounded sand?
Yeah.
But obviously to them, it's just sand. To be fair, I think I'll probably laugh as well. Like, yeah, we've just
you
gone
say
through
you've
all
got-
of that.
But is that a "I told you so" laugh, or a laugh as I say we've gone through all that just for sand?
Yeah, I think, he's just like,
we go.
Whatever. We now got to go back to the Fuhrer and tell him that he hasn't got his Ark of
Right.
the Covenant.
I'm sorry, but these soldiers deserve to die. If I saw that happen, I'm out of there.
Yeah,
I'd be out of there.
Oh, hell yeah.
You just wouldn't stand around and take it, would you?
This is like something out of, what was it? There we go, look.
I've just noticed his staff's very like pagan looking, isn't it? All the-
It's funny, that special effect there, just inside the Ark of the Covenant, always reminds me of when the gate opens and Zul comes walking through.
Ghostbusters,
Ghostbusters,
yeah.
yeah.
Gozer and yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely,
I'm glad I wasn't on my own.
Now, again, going back to John Williams' score, but I love how he twists it very last second.
Yep.
How it's like it's all very spooky.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, shit's gonna hit the
Just on
fan,
a
and it
knife
is a
edge, and then it
terrifying
becomes
bit of
something else
music.
completely.
Honestly, used to scare the shit out of me back. As soon as her face changes,
So this affects where the spirits, the ghosts, are flying around them. This was mannequins dumped into a pool, and they were on a rod, and they were simply moving them about in the
No
water.
way.
With legs.
Wow.
Yeah, and they filmed them underwater like
how
that.
clever.
beautiful.
And this wasn't even an effects person's idea. This was, I believe,
this
changes now.
this was a
doesn't it?
Fuck
secretary,
that.
like the secretary to Spielberg, who came up with the idea of that.
Don't look, Marion. Keep your eyes shut.
I mean, that piercing soundtrack that makes the scene.
face melts, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. Yeah.
His face expression that he's kind of.
Look at that. That is so clever.
That is unreal for a PG. It's just unreal. And his head explodes.
Yeah.
And it stands out as one of the most effective special effects of all time. You could CGI that all day long. It still wouldn't look as great.
No. And it's so simple to do, I imagine.
They did it in Gremlins, didn't they? In the Gremlins.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, with Stripe, yeah.
Always reminds me of, have you ever seen The Prophecy?
Yes.
Christopher Walken.
Is that Christopher Walken? Yeah.
Plays Angel Gabriel. Like,
They've done like 3 or 4 of those movies, didn't they?
yeah. I think I finished after about 3. But it's such a good film.
That was lucky.
So again, the power of God.
Yep.
They realised that these two were
Innocent.
they were innocents. Yeah,
They were good people.
they were fighting on behalf of what was right. So it freed them.
How do we get out of here?
Well, that was it. I always questioned how they got off the island. But then you still had a U-boat there. The U-boat captain was still there. I just imagine that.
Yeah, but still, it's 2 people taking over a sub, though.
But then how do they carry that all the way back?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that, yeah, it's true.
Originally, in the original script, there was meant to be a minecart scene to get off of that island.
Huh.
Which they use in
Which they
Temple of
use in
Doom.
Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
I love that. It's like Gatwick.
What kind of men have seen to the Ark? Top men. Which I love. Family Guy uses that so well. Top men, Meg.
But it's a brush off. Yeah. But I love that. It's like a gap where you go, I totally don't disagree with this process. Well, I think that just about wraps up. This
they're not interested, are they? They've already got their agenda. Men.
So here you'll see his grey fedora again.
Yeah.
I've never noticed that. Which he never has again, does he, after this?
No.
Nope.
Because you're already in the action in the next film.
It's like Clark Kent.
Yeah.
This is his Clark Kent persona in India.
Wow, I never saw it like that. Dude.
So here we are. What we would later be known as Area 51.
Or Warehouse 13.
Or Warehouse 13.
Warehouse 13.
Indeed, yeah.
Indeed, yeah.
I used to love that series.
That was a brilliant series.
Yeah, I did like that.
And what was its sister series?
Oh,
A Town Called Eureka.
Oh, I never watched that.
Yeah.
I know of it, but I never watched it. Oh, okay.
I love how big that is. There's so many mysteries. How many of those boxes has Indy put in there?
Well, yeah, indeed, yeah.
And somewhere in there is a crystal skull as well.
It is.
But that's why I used to love Warehouse 13, because there used to be things in there, and that would do stuff. You know, they used to find like daggers and stuff that would do.
But it was born.
Associate to Mr. Spielberg, the ruiner of Star Wars. Anyway,
Yeah.
But there we go, guys. All done, all finished. Do you enjoy that?
Yeah,
It was great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Love watching
Love
those
watching.
all over
Never
again.
ever get sick and tired of watching that film.
Nope.
Even though we tried to ruin it a couple of times for you.
Well, yeah,
But so many great facts there. Thank you for that, Howard.
no, pleasure. No, I just hope you didn't get bored of hearing.
Well,
my
no, not
voice.
at all. It's just that opened my eyes completely. Like, there's a few facts in there I never even
definitely.
knew. And I thought I knew this movie quite well, which obviously just goes to show wasn't the case at all. But
I've lived and breathed it for so many years, mate. When I said to you, we need to do a commentary corner. It wasn't just for myself. I mean, I think this is.
no,
a
I'd
film-
sit through Indy any day. So
Yeah, exactly. And we've talked about this so many times. We all love Indiana Jones.
Yep.
It just had to be done.
So yeah. Anything else on that, guys? If not, we'll leave it there.
No, I think we're there.
I'm all
think we've done it
factored out,
justice.
mate.
All fact out. Well, guys, if you like what you're listening to, follow us on Facebook at the M.T.V.B Podcast, on Instagram at M.T.V.B Podcast, or on TikTok at M.T.V Podcast 197, or now on
YouTube
Yay.
at the MTVB B Podcast 2024.
Yeah, it's all one word, sort of.
But Mario's doing his hardest to put all our episodes on there for now, and then obviously future content for in the future. We've got so many plans for that coming up now.
Yeah,
so this is the first time we've officially announced the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It is. We're all very, very excited, and I think this is something that Anthony is owed.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Let's see how it goes first. And
yeah.
But no, guys, thank you for listening, and we'll call it there. Good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
Good night.